Hello everybody, this is William Ash and I'm continuing this Inside Blender 3D photo demo or tutorial thing that I'm doing. So I have my whole scene set up at this point. I have my light gizmo looking fabulous. I have a grid, and if I turn off the, if I turn on only render, you'll see that. That looks really good. Okay, the grid looks awesome. The light looks awesome. My fake camera is over here, and you would almost think that is a real camera gizmo, but it's not. That's just something I made. So that's looking really good. The only material we need to adjust before we move on is the cube, the default cube, which is actually not fake. It's just a normal default cube. I'm going to take off, it looks like it tried to pick up the fake grid materials, take that off and add a new. And there was an issue because I use emissive materials on the grid. You'll see they kind of start to light up the cube, and that looks a little ugly. So what I did is I just used emissive material, and I set that color to a gray color. And what that does is it just, since it's emitting light, it doesn't catch the light. So if you just want it to be about the color you want a default cube to be, and I'm going to go back to my reference and just kind of look at that. Actually looks a lot brighter actually. Huh. So let's just make it brighter. There we go. When we use emissive, it seems to lose the details on the corners, and that is unfortunate. I think if we add a here I'm going rogue right now. If we add an ambient occlusion shader and we add a shader, or actually no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a input wireframe. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, so I got wireframe, and then I think I also need a mix node. So I think all wireframe does is produce a factor. And then I'm going to add a shader diffuse BSDF with a black color value. And if I add this into there and this into there, oh yeah, basically does what I want. There we go. Ooh, but then it gives me these triangles. I don't really want the triangles. Nah. So I'm considering my options. I'm thinking I may want to just paint. No, I don't really want to paint. I don't know. Basically, I wanted a emissive shader only. Maybe I'm just going about this wrong. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just going to use my thing I did last time. Or maybe I'm just thinking through this too much. Maybe if I just use a shader, principled shader, and instead of attacking it by making sure you don't catch reflections by making it emissive, because that's kind of a backwards way to do this. How about I just turn up roughness or something like that? Hello? Headphones? Yeah. Okay, I'm back. That looks pretty good. I just need to make up my darn mind. I know that there's a way to take away the gloss. I think it's a factor involving light paths. Maybe I'll try that. Add input, light path. And then is diffuse ray, let's just make sure we only get diffuse ray. So let's add a shader, mix shader, and plug that into there, and then we'll say is diffuse ray, and for factor, connect that there. And that didn't fix it. That didn't fix anything either. Maybe it's because I don't have anything in the other slot. So maybe if I add, if it's a diffuse ray, I want it to do that. But if it's not diffuse, I want it to add a color emit. Maybe let's try Toon Shader. I've tried Toon Shader. I haven't done that yet. I don't know. At this point, I am just getting super picky. And so I'm going to be done. And I'm just going to go ahead and just going to call it good. Even though I got that reflection problem, it shouldn't kill anything. So instead of playing around with it any further, wasting time, I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so my default cube is set up in the middle of the scene. And maybe the reflection's kind of cool. Kind of lets you know that it's something is going on. And yeah, here's my scene all finished. Okay, so all that's left to do is the face on the other side. I didn't do that yet, but that's just some easy image stuff. So I'm gonna think like, where am I gonna be? So I'm gonna move my light into the correct position. So I'm gonna go into my default scene and select my light. And let's do the same thing we did earlier. So copy this location, lamp, change you back to material, and there's my X location, and then there's my Y location. And I think in the video, or in the picture that I posted, I think I might have actually move things away from the default location eventually, just because I wanted to set them up a little bit different. And that's okay, but I'm just gonna start with this thing. I don't know what I've been moving. Oh, there it is. The actual light. I've been moving the actual light. So the actual light's over there. The little locator thing is not. So I'm going to go over here and just move it. I don't know why it's showing a relationship line between that and that. So I'm just going to go look at my locator thing. Fake light. Grid. Oh, that's weird. There we go. Okay, right now it's not quite reaching where I need it to reach, so I'm just gonna scale this thing, or bring that thing up into my little thing here. I'll go side view, front view. And I'm just gonna go GX and bring it over in GX. Okay, now I got my fake light, and if it's parented, it should work, and I should be able to move it around. Yeah, it did. Okay. So I have not placed my fake light yet, into the proper place. And also, I think what I'm going to do with this lamp, actually, and this is something that I did in my video, is I brought the lamp up top, and then I changed it to a sun, and then I think I went top down and then changed it to sun. And rotation. Just turn off the rotations. And then it just kind of helped light up that cube a little bit more, which looks pretty good. Okay. And then changing the camera's location, because the fake camera is just kind of off in La La Land right now. So according to Blender default scene, I think I thought I already set these. So it's 7.48, negative 6.5. Oh yeah, so I totally messed up these values. So 7.4811, blah, blah, blah. X is that, then Y is here. And then for Z, and then it looks like the angles haven't really changed. 63.6, 46.7. Unless I have a sign wrong. No, it looks fine. So with that being done, I believe I've accomplished the goal of the goal of recreating a default scene. Only now, why is my light following me around? Oops. So let's look in the fake light constraint. Oh, it's because of the locator. So I don't like that. Drop to clear parent. Okay. Let's just take that not as a child, because Blender is going to be annoying if I set that as a child. I think there's a way to set it up that I managed. Okay, in my original post on Facebook, I think I placed my camera about here because I wanted to see the lamp and the camera. But for this render, I'm thinking it might be kind of fun to pick a location like here, so you can actually see more of the grid and you feel like you're a bigger part of the grid. Okay, and then the 3D locator, or the 3D cursor, could also go in here. I think I'm going to set that up. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly do a webcam shot too, so I'm going to do that now. I needed to get a different piece of software for the webcam thing, because now Windows doesn't include the basic camera thing. So I'm just trying to get this camera working so that I can take a selfie. But if it's not going to work, that's okay. Let's just get a picture from somebody else. Yeah, let's do this. This is Paula. Let's put Paula in the computer. Okay. So I'm just gonna go Blender, inside Blender, and save Paula's selfie in there. Thank you, Paula, for providing your selfie for me to turn into this thing. So I'm just gonna add a plane. Probably, like, I'm kind of thinking where I want my camera to be, because I'm going to place the plane such that it's going to be amusing to turn around and see the plane. So if I'm right here and I'm facing this direction, and there's the cube like this, okay? I'm just going to leave the camera there. Probably want to change that to solid view so I can actually see. Now I want to put a plane right here. So I'm going to go here, Shift A, Mesh, Plane, and then RX90, and then RZ. Let's go, it's top-down mode, and RZ, and just rotate it so it kind of matches. And let's just go S10, like that. And we're going to go into material, and we're going to call this material Paula. Thank you, Paula. Add image texture, open, Paula selfie, open, Paula. There you are. Text or input, texture, coordinates, generated. Okay. Now right now it does not really look like a computer screen. The aspect ratio is off. So what I'm going to do is tab into it, and I'm going to UV map this. So U unwrap, and then tab back out, and then I'm going to tab and just, I'm going to divide. I'm trying to go for 16 by 9. So I'm going to go times, or S, Z, 9. And I'm going to go S, or I don't want to do global X. I want to do local X, right? So, or local Z. So S, Z, Z, 9. No. Well, SZ shouldn't matter. And then SXX 16. And then when I go into here, Control A, apply scale. And now I got 16 by 9. And then if I go here, what's up?
Hey.
I'm recording something. Trying to do this dumb project I did last night over again. But I'm putting a pretty girl in it because the version with William Ash was a little bit jarring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got some funny comments about it being terrifying. It's like, yo. What you up to?
Could you help me with alignment?
Yeah. I'll try to work my way over there.
Usually when you click something, it's supposed to do something.
Yeah. That's a thing. Okay. I'm going to go... Okay, so now that I got that set up, I think I need to change it from a diffuse to a emission, because that's what I did before, and it looked good. So I don't really have to do anything fancy here. I think this just works. Okay, so I have the 3D scene set up now. I have everything I need. I got my light, I got my cube, I got my grid, I got Paula. Okay, so to actually render this image, and this is going to be the last step in this tutorial, so get ready for it. I'm going to go here, I'm going to click the camera settings. So I'm on my real camera, I click camera settings. I'm going to change this to panoramic. And what I understand is that this focal lens value is like super important. I'm going to change this to equal rectangular, and then that's all I did. Okay, there are camera presets here, and if I can, if you find, okay, here's weird. If you can find a camera that's like, if you set it to a phone cameras, you can actually have your 3D photo work without having to set up anything else. So I'm just going to pick a Galaxy. I'm just going to say that I'm a Galaxy S4. Okay. Um, and then I'm going to go to this rendered section and I'm going to change the resolution to 4000 by 2000. It's important it's a 2-to-1 aspect ratio. And I'm going to leave this low and I'm going to leave my sampling value low because I want this to render fairly fast. And it's just important you set it to equal rectangular. You place your camera where you want to be, and that in the render tab you're set to a 2-to-1 aspect ratio, and then all you have to do is hit render. So just hit render image. Oh, I messed it up. I already know I messed it up. Okay, how did I mess it up, you might wonder? We want the turnaround to be interesting. So if I place this in the, like here, facing this way, then the user is going to have to turn around to see everything. And that is going to be hilarious. So that was the effect that I got with the photo. So let's try that again. Render image. So here it goes. And actually, I'm not sure if this testing it out with the mobile phone thing, if that's going to work. If it doesn't, then I have a backup plan. So I'm just going to try it out, though, because what I was reading on Facebook is that if you use a cell phone to take a panoramic photo, it'll detect that automatically, and it'll be able to create a 360 photo out of it. So what I'm doing is an experiment, but, I mean, in theory, this should work. Image, save as image. I'm going to call this pano whatever, right? And if I save as image, let's go to Facebook and do what I did last night. So I'm going to go to my home page because this is where I've been playing around with these things. And I'm going to go to I'm going to use my cover photo to change it, and I'm going to upload a photo. And let's try Documents, Blender, Inside Blender, and Pano. See, it didn't detect the 360 image. So that wasn't as simple as I had hoped. Let's go and try another trick. Image, I think you can close this render as alt. Open, panoramic, image. I think there's, maybe it's under N. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. So there's supposed to be a way to change the metadata in Blender. I'm just, since I'm not trying to do too much confused stuff on camera, I'm just going to go hop into Photoshop and do it there, because this is where I was doing it yesterday. So I'm just going to open let's go here, go under 3D, spherical panorama, import panorama, and then if I go to my Blender folder, inside Blender, and then Pano, open, and then I don't think I changed anything usually. I just hit OK because I didn't want to. Sure, switch to a 3D workspace. Okay, so it brings me in, and here's my panoramic image. And you see there's a little bit of speckling right there on the cube, but I think that's just because I used the principled shader and I set low samples. So if you up the samples to like 500, I bet you it'll look fine. So anyways, I think that is basically it. I think I changed this FOV value. For whatever reason, when you do this thing in Photoshop, it messes with the FOV, and I think it's like detecting what's going on. So if I were to redo this, which I probably would if I was really doing this legit, I would like probably play with the angle of the lady's face, up the sample size, and then just kind of play with the settings. But that's it. getting it to work for Facebook is the tricky part, but there's like a bunch of ways to do that. I just used Photoshop because that's what I know how to do. Um, and I have Photoshop, so it's easy. So now I just export this panorama, and so I just go inside Blender, Pano copy, save, and then when I go to my Facebook, and if I go here, I can cancel, and now let's try this again. Upload photo, a Pano copy, and now you got the panoramic image with Paula instead of me. Okay, but I'm just gonna probably cancel this because I don't want to confuse people. Why, Ash? Why are you putting this Paula lady in your thing? So that's it anyway. So that's my tutorial on how I did this. I hope that was useful. If you have questions, you can of course let me know on Facebook. Thank you very much.